Good morning everybody and welcome on in to another video here on my channel where today I've brought you guys up to see my minifigure storage. Of course right now you're looking at my minifigure frames. These are custom designed by me, designed to hold my CMF figures. But we're also going to be taking a look at how I store my bulk figures, so that's figures that don't come with sets, along with a couple of bits of packaging and a couple of other bits as well. And we're doing this mostly because I think these are really cool. It's a chance to talk about some minifigures, and it is also coinciding with our 5-year channel anniversary, which I guess not really isn't a reason to celebrate, but it does give me an excuse to go on a little ramble about something and share these with you guys. So there are 4 of these frames. If I take a quick step back, there are 4 of these on the wall, like so, and they are just hung up here on pieces of string down from a picture rail. And they usually hang somewhere else, but I've got them clustered together today for this video. And as I mentioned, they are designed to hold my CMF figures, specifically through 3 of them here, up until, of course, at the time of filming, we have series 25 just spreading over to frame 4. Now, I originally just built 3. As I mentioned, I designed them myself. I had a little bit of help in building them, but they are just white wooden frames, 2 hooks at the top, and then a piece of acrylic on the front. And they are built as a set of 3, and then I built the 4th one slightly later, which explains some of the slightly different dimensions to hold excess figures, but also just because I ran out of space. And yeah, they've been a wonderful addition. I really like having them. They're very kind of nerdy but artsy at the same time. And each shelf has 5 sort of levels, and that means it can hold 50 figures at this density, which is quite cramped, I must admit, but it suits someone like me who has just, well, a lot of minifigures, meaning that in total, eventually these will hold 200 minifigures. Currently, they hold about 150 CMFs and then 50 random figures. Specifically, when I started, it was series 19, and it was up to the end of frame 2, meaning I was just spilling into my 3rd one 5 years ago. Oh, 6 years ago. That's getting old. And now I am just spilling into my 4th, which is largely made up of other random cool minifigures that I like out of various different IPs. Let me show you how I can gain access to them. If we come over here to frame 1, you can see that I can access my minifigures just by lifting up the piece of acrylic. You can see it just comes up, and I can then grab anyone out that I need for a project and just lower this back down with no problems. Very occasionally it will get caught on one of these shelves, and that will be a slight problem, but it doesn't happen very often, and it's a super easy fix. I've used Lego tape. Well, it's not official Lego tape, it's mica tape, to sort of be the figure stands. This means that they not only obviously can have tape that sticks to wood, but it means they're a really loose connection, meaning I'm not damaging any figures. Not that I particularly care, as most of these guys I've had since the original series, meaning that they have been heavily played with, especially the ones in this first case. But I know for a lot of you that looser figure storage is something that you guys find important, and it's a shame really, because I just don't have much of a sort of a setup to be able to display these. Obviously, when I have stuff out like the Lion Knight's Castle, a lot of the D&D figures end up coming out and joining that display, or if I do something with space, you guys just saw these space figures come out. Disney Castle gets populated and so on, so they do come out the frames fairly often, but it just means that they're not just shoved in a bin and forgotten for the meantime. But let's take a closer look up at all of them. It started off here in 2010 with the sort of cheerleader here. I had the cheerleader and the wrestlers when I bought them when the first CMF series came out back in 2010, and I actually bought them at the time for 99p, although that price did not last long for CMFs, whereas the robot and the caveman I picked up later on through bulk lots and then have been added in here, which does mean, yes, I did put all these figures in, and as I mentioned, series 19 used to be down here. They have shifted forwards into frame 3, and then they've shifted backwards as new figures were added over time, especially additions like the caveman and so on here who came later. We then have the Pharaoh from series 2, the mime, as well as the weightlifter, mariachi, the ringleader I picked up later, but all the others were originals. And back then I wasn't feeling bags, so I was really lucky to get a Pharaoh at the time, because I was really into ancient Egypt, so that was really cool. The mariachi and the mime I both thought were really cool. I just didn't have many duffers. The ringmaster was a later pickup. He's one of the ones that's been pieced together using parts. So for example, I found the torso at a market and then went through and went, oh, I should order the other parts off Bricklink to complete him. Got the samurai here from series 3. There are a couple of scratches on my acrylic, but ignore that. These frames are potentially 6 years old now. We've got the sumo wrestler, the royal guard, the Godzilla man, who was one of my favourites from Series 5, the cave woman. And Series 5 is when I first started using codes. Unfortunately, it'd be the last time that bump codes were actually valid for a long time. Here you've got the boxer. Got a gap here for the evil dwarf, I believe, or it might just be a normal dwarf figure, but either way, he is currently being pieced together a bit like the ringmaster. I've only got the torso and the face. I'm still missing the beard and the hat, but I'm working on it. The Minotaur, the businessman, the Santa, don't really need him now, we've had so many other Santas. The weightlifter here from the Team GB series. Again, this was done at the time in 2012. Really pleased to have at least one from that series, because obviously British, but also yeah, it was a time. I love those Olympics, were great. And then on the third shelf here, we have the Cyclops, which was a later pickup from Series 9, Mr. Good, Mr. Evil, who was part together. And I do like my classic monsters, so having a Jekyll Hyde is really cool. The Fortune Teller, who's an original pickup. I remember being so frustrated that I couldn't make her more of an action-based character because her dress just meant she fell off all the time. I'm so happy we finally have a new dress piece. The Decorator, and then the Gingerbread Man from Series 11. This is not his original, because his original one was played with so much that his legs are super loose. So this one has been upgraded with a candy cane, and it's a more recent pickup. The Island Warrior similarly was a more recent pickup. And then we've got the Waitress and the Mountain Climber, which I've ended up with 2 of, the Yeti, and then the Wizard from Series 12. Now, Series 12 is important because it is from this point on that I started feeling my minifigure bags. I found out about it from a friend, and at that point, I have only ever got figures that I wanted because I have bought specific bags, unless of course I picked up figures later on or were gifted them. So that continued with getting the Wizard and the Jester, 2 figures I both really wanted, the King from Series 13 and the Sausage, and then the Evil King as well. These guys have proved invaluable with Limelight's Castle and so on as well. The Paleontologist was a gift, and then there is the Alien Warrior here from Series 13, another favourite, and then we go into the Monster series, which is probably, I mean, at least until the Space in the Disney 100 series, the highest density of figures from a series I have, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the 16, which is a really high average for me. Usually it's only 2, 3 from each series, although that has changed in recent years. But 11 out of 16 is a really high number for me. We've got the Mad Doctor, the Plant Scientist, bit of a Triffid there, really love him. Sort of a Spectre. At the time I didn't have a classic Lego Ghost, so that was a big deal. The Wacky Witch, the Fly Guy, another sort of creation monster is really great. The Zombie Pirate. And then the Skeleton Mask guy, the Werewolf, the Queen Spider Lady, the Gargoyle, and then the Rocker Frankenstein, who was a later pickup. I really like that series. It was really cool to have a seasonal one. And we'll see with Series 23, all the way over here later on, that I was really excited to get Christmas and get some of those other holiday reps in here as well. But then we move into sort of Clumsy Guy and the Shark Guy from Series 15, the Janitor, who's a great one for Mox, and then into one of our first licensed series, which was the Disney Series 1. Now, you've got to remember that it was a different time back in 2016. This was a big deal because this was realistically the only way to get Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy because Disney Castle was so expensive. Little did we know that it would launch a full line, and to be honest, I'm really grateful that I have these 4 from the original series, even though I have their Disney Castle outfits, and of course, Donald is the same. Minnie's Disney Castle is better. Mickey's is switch outable, right? Like this is his most iconic one, so I'm really glad we have this, but the other one's also pretty cool. But this is Daisy's outfit, and the other one's just like not up to it. So it's really great that I have them in their sort of classic forms here from the series. It was really useful. Same goes for a lot of these figures. I'm so glad to have Maleficent. I have Maleficent's Dragon pick as a recent pickup I got for 50% off, so I'm really glad to have her to go with that because she can go in that set. Why? At the time, we didn't know we were going to get more Stitches, so this was a big deal as well, although the new one's definitely much better. Didn't know we were going to get more Buzzes. I still need to get the Woody from this Toy Story 4 sets to match him because I really prefer them without the molded heads. This is definitely my favourite of the Buzzes they've done. And then Toy Story Aliens. I had no idea that we would, in years to come, get loads and loads of these 3, so they were really important CMF pickups. And then we go into Series 16 with the Banana Guy and the Ice Queen, but also the Penguin, the Hiker, the Mariachi, and the Babysitter. And so on as well. And these stories have a really funny story, and one of my favorite memories across the Lego hobby is definitely sort of going and figure hunting, because there's so many interesting interactions, like the time that the store called the manager on me because they thought I was shoplifting. I wasn't, I was just feeling the bags, and they were going to kick me out, but then they didn't because they actually talked to me. And then there was one time that we were feeling through bags looking for these guys, actually specifically the Babysitter and the Hiker, and as fast as we were feeling bags, the store lady was putting them back in because she wanted to go home for the end of the day. But so many wonderful memories sorting that I was worried was going to go away when the packaging disappeared. down there. But we'll talk about that later because it didn't, and we've had some wonderful stories since. But then somewhere in here we transitioned to series 17. We've got Lego Batman 2 movie Orca here. I got him directly after seeing the movie because I liked his character. I liked his little one-bit joke, so really glad to have him. And then we have the vendor here, who's really hard to display because he has so many accessories, but I just love his styling. The Corncob Man, the Surfer Male here with his fantastic surfboard, the Elf Maiden, who I used to use for a Pura Zelda. We've got the Chef, the Retro Hero here, who I picked up later on, so I don't actually love the figure, but he's referenced on the City Space Adventure Ride truck, and I really like that set, and I wanted it to go with my Fairground Mixer, and he is the hero, so I thought it'd be great to have him for the theme park in a costume. We did used to have Rocket Boy here. He has just recently been stolen so I can make a grey spaceman because I can appreciate the parts of Rocket Boy, but those parts can go on other minifigures. I don't need him as a CMF, so I'd rather steal his torso for the space stuff and then keep the rocket to go with for an adult for a fairground or something. We then got the Highwayman, who was a weird chase figure for Series 17. No idea why, but good to have him. He's a fantastically designed figure. And that moves us into the costumes figure series, Series 18. I'm really quite pumped for the next costume series in January 26, actually. I'm hoping that the animal costume series is going to be really fun. We'll see. I'm already pleased with what we're seeing and hearing so far. But we've got Bricksuit Boy, Bricksuit Girl. We've got the Cowboy with his fantastic sort of horse overalls there. The Party Clown, the Red Dragon, which was so exciting to get a dragon-themed minifigure after so long. And then that moves us straight, although you wouldn't know it, into the Lego Movie 2 series here with Crayon Girl, who just looks so silly and wonderful. I brought this figure because of that 2x2 tile. She's just so proud of her really ugly drawing, and I really love that. It's really funny. And then we, of course, have the Wizard of Oz gang from that series as well. So glad I picked these up because I think I'd really regret not having them. I do still need to grab the Wicked Witch, and I'd love to get the monkeys one day as well, but they're so expensive. But we've got Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Lion, and it's one of the few areas where I've enhanced the minifigure frame with some 1x2 golden tiles to make the yellow brick road. And then, of course, Giraffe Guy from the same series. And he was actually the reason that these frames are the height they are, because at the time, he was the tallest minifigure that I owned and probably the tallest CMF, potentially, give or take a couple. So he was my height guide when I was designing these as well, which was really cool. And then we move into Disney Series 2, which is another sort of dream come true. Getting Jack and Sally here is great. I do love the Nightmare Before Christmas set, but is that on her or on the acrylic? Huh. I do love the Nightmare Before Christmas set, but I prefer these versions of the figures because I really don't like those long legs on Jack, so I think he looks much better like this. But then Hades was another great one. Love Hercules, but Hades and Hercules here, and then one of the chipmunks as well. So all of these frames will move again when I get the other chipmunk, but it will happen. And then Jasmine and Jafar down here as well. Then we have in Series 19, which of course has been a focal point. One of my personal favorite series is from the unlicensed era, but also just because they were the sort of transition point. So they are my 100th CMF, basically. And then also they were the ones that sort of moved into frame 3. I got the frames, and then a couple of days later I brought the figures. So we've got the Fright Night remake here, Johnny Thunder, who looks amazing, the pizza costume guy, the shower guy. Bought the pizza costume guy because of the pizza truck. And then probably a top 5 CMF for me is the Blacktron Bounty Hunter here, or he's just called Bounty Hunter. He's got his little wanted poster down there. And just looks fantastic. The design work on him is so sleek. He looks even better in the renders, admittedly, but he just looks so good. So really happy to have him. And mine even came with a scratch on the visor, which just makes him look even cooler in my eyes. And then we've got DC, so we've got the Joker here, and then, of course, Mr. Miracle. No idea who Mr. Miracle is. I'm not a DC comic reader, but I'm really glad to have these. They just like the figures. They look cool to me. And then we have the Beekeeper as well. I missed a couple of series around here because of COVID, but apart from that, most series, apart from like the super early ones, are represented. I know I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm missing 4. We got 5. Missing 6 of the Evil Dwarf might complete that. Minotaur 7, Businessman 7 as well. Wait series, and then it goes to 9. So I'm missing a couple of series back here, but from 10 onwards, which Series 10 is represented with the Decorator, we have 11, 12, 13, 14 is all fine. 15, Disney 1, 16, I know I'm missing Simpsons, but I don't really care about all the licenses. But all the way through here is all complete up until the missing gap of Series 20, where we jump straight to Series 21 with the Beekeepers, then Marvel Series 1 here with Scarlet Witch and Vision, and then of course Captain Carter as well, all of which were just figures I liked. I haven't seen What If, but I like the design. However, Wonder and Vision are some of my favorite Avengers, so we've got them here. Excited to add them to Avengers Tower later this year. And then Series 22, the Forest Dweller Boy, I remember exactly where I was and exactly when when I got him. It was in the middle of January, very, very cold, but I sat on the bench and I opened that figure with his cute little mushroom. Then we got Kermit for the memes, really, and then Series 23, which is a hated on series, but I actually quite like. I love that the Christmas figures finally got a chance to exist, such as Nutcrackers and the Snowman and the Reindeer here were all great, really, really sort of long wanted figures for me that we got to add. And then the boat costume around the same time as Titanic, and he looks like Captain Smith, is so silly and fun. I love it. The popcorn, Green Dragon, I was happy to have another one of those back. And then that moves us to Series 24, which has the Dinosaur Man and the Brain Spaceman for the Every Spaceman is Awesome collection, which hopefully is on your screen right now. It's cool. I love having all of the colours. And then we've got the Orc Warrior as well. And then Disney 100, which was another Dream Come True series, specifically here, Sorcerer Mickey and Oswald, two figures I never thought we would actually see. Well, I knew we would see Sorcerer Mickey in some form eventually, but Oswald I never expected to get. But growing up with those Epic Mickey games, it was fantastic. I love getting him, but it's just so good. And I've accessorized him with his Power of Two remote, and then of course the Bunnykin there. We've got Queen of Hearts, Pinocchio, Jeremy Cricknet, Cruella here, who is actually on the Disney 100 stands. I tried to put a copy of the special stands in, and I mean special stands with printing, not so much just like the orange ones that came with Series 18 or the white ones that came with Disney Figure Series, but ones like, where are we? The Cruella one for Disney 100, the Space one you'll see in a minute, and then of course the Great Lifter one. I'll put the Spider-Verse one on there as well probably. But then we've got the Evil Queen, Sleeping Beauty, another great one to have with the Aurora Dragon, and then Tiana and Facilier as well. Agatha here from Series 2, and this is the important part because this is where we transition into boxes instead of bagged figures with Marvel Series 2. So I picked up one box and I got She-Hulk, which is cool because it's a really detailed figure. Then I picked up another box to just sort of risk my luck, and we got Wolfman, and then Agatha I picked up later at convention because I do really want her, and I really liked her show, underrated Marvel show. But from that point on, code apps weren't apps, so these two were just sort of random picks. Then for Series 25, which was in the beginning of 2024, because I hate that the numbering got messed up, we have these guys here. Now, originally I just did what I did with Marvel, and I just picked up one box from that series, which happened to be the Harpy, which was the only figure of the 12 that I really hated and didn't really want, even though it is cool to have a Harpy. I just don't like its design. So I was really disappointed by that. And then I heard about the figure apps, because there were lots of figures in this series that I did want, such as, well, all the other ones you hear. So then, after me getting my one dodgy one, and that, I can't believe that happened. It was a 1 in 12 chance, and I got the only one I didn't care for. We picked up the Mushroom Sprite, Detective, the Grey Detective, the Fright Night Basil remake, the Triceratops, and then the Train Guy, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I got all of those using the code apps as well to scan the boxes, which was really great. The goat I picked up on Bricklink because I could never find a goat herd because they were always sold out, and I just wanted the goat anyway, although I do like the goat herd minifigure. And then we move into the second half of that year, and two, again, of my favorite series. I really like the Series 26 Space. You can see the Space Base down there, along with the Ice Planet, M-Tron, and Blacktron Redux. If you guys know the channel, you know I have about 30 of these, all picked up at the end of the Space Series' lineup. This series is also really high up there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 12. No, 8 of the 12, the Mind Flayers, D&D. 8 of the 12, it's a 2/3 average, which is about the same as the Monster series that we talked about earlier. But yeah, I really, really love these remakes, specifically the Ice Planet one. I have about 30 of them. I could have completed the whole series, but no, instead I have this. But then we've got M-Tron, Blacktron, the Space Saucer, the Alien Betazoid, Orion, Alien Tourist, the Pink Space Baby, and Nanny. And I just love that series. It was great. It was such a good series. And yeah, one day I'm just going to like fill up frame 4 full of all the Ice Planet figures I have, because I just think it'd be funny. Then for D&D, we have the Mind Flayer and the Brain, Zastam, the Bard, which isn't a personal favourite figure. I'm going to do something special with him, I think, but I really like that character, and he's consistently on my list of figures I really enjoy. We have the Dragon Power Paladin, the Gith, the Yankee Warlock, and then the Arakora. Ooh, I can never get that right, with the dog as well. All fantastic figures, love me some fantasy. 2 banger series to sort of wrap out the year there. And yeah, really, really special ones. And of course, completely filling out the third frame here, where we just finish off with Series 25 with the Steampunk Inventor, the Bogeyman, and then of course the Wolfpack Remaker, Wolf Beastmaster, that's his name, and the Pteranodon as well, which alongside the Triceratops make really good Lizalfos, so I do own a couple of those as well. And that is the end of the CMF journey. I do have one of the race cars, and I've saved 2 spots here exactly for Spider-Man India and Spider-Man 2099. Those movies are overrated, but I like those characters, and I want to get at least one from most series going forward, unless it's an IP I really, really hate. And I want these frames to last, because if we think about it, if I started here in 2019, it's taken me 5-ish years to fill up the third frame. So in theory, this frame should probably take about 5 to 6 years to fill up as well, meaning this will last me until 2030, by which point I'll probably have a house. We hope. We hope. Or minifigures will have died, one of the two. But 2 more figures for Spider-Verse left here before we move into the other ones. Now, I mentioned a story about the boxes. So I mentioned the boxes came in, and when I started using apps and so on, and how I've actually really enjoyed that process. It was the D&D series on September 1st. I was at the Lego store, and there were about 7 of us all going in to sort of scan the boxes. And it was just this really lovely community environment where everyone was using the scanning app and just sort of going, "Bard," and like shoving them up in the air. And then anyone that was still looking for one would sort of put their hand up. And it was really beautiful. It was a different kind of experience because it was a Lego store, but it reminded me of what we used to have with the bags. And if you say that's a one-off, you were at a Lego store, well, with the racing CMF, which I did pick up the General F1 car for, I had a similar experience because I actually helped someone get a full series of 12. I didn't need any, but I was just scanning boxes for them. And I just love that. It's the part of the community aspect that I was really worried was going to go away. I don't buy figures for the sake of buying the figures. I don't buy it for the pseudo-gambling aspect. I just buy the figures I like. And I'm really, really pleased with the CMF collection that I've been able to accrue over time. Let's just go through this last 4, and then I'll take you to my bulk collection. We've got Gale and Johnny here, both of them, they're remakes. I'll be getting Charles Lightning in the museum at some point. Got Club Max, Leicester, and then my own figure that I made in the Leicester Square store, as well as just a random space torso that I really enjoyed from City 2024 Space. We then have a Star Wars shelf where I just put some wacky aliens on. This is a temporary display. It rolls in and out between themes, and I just chose Star Wars this month. But we've got the Ithorian from the Mos Eisley Cantina, along with Geridian, the Imperial Spy. We've got Tom Wee, excited to get the Django Slave On at some point, to get Lama Su. Then we've got Ponda Baba, a Elite Praetorian Guard, Vader in the middle, the 501st Airborne Trooper, 9 oh dear. It's New Gunray! New Gunray, how could I forget? One of my original random background Star Wars characters that I was fond of. Iden from Inferno Squad, but I've changed out to have a helmet. And then, of course, Obi-Wan's droid R4 down the back. Next shelf has the 2 Gingerbreads. Gingerbread's my favourite minifigure of all time, even beating out the Lynx. So they are here with the Gingerbread man and wife, but the original one is my personal favourite from Series 11. Just love that figure so much, so fun. Then we've got Fireman Mickey, which is a variant I wanted to pick up off Bricklink. Really happy to have him. Reminds me of Epic Mickey again. The Christopher Romero, the Cesar Romero Joker. The Cesar Romero Joker here, I wanted to pick this figure up because it was the profile picture of Hammers Yellow First, who was a Lego Ideas fan designer who got many projects 10K, including the Breath of the Stables, which is one of my major inspirations. So if I ever meet him, one day I'll get that signed, but I wanted to have the figure anyway. We've got Flynn Rider, who I did buy for those dual molded boots for my Skyward Sword Link, and then those parts came out on Bricks and Pieces, much cheaper than what I paid and shipped this figure for from China. It is a official figure, obviously, and then when I got the legs back, I put his legs back on him, including the belt, because I actually switched that out. We then have the Anubis Guard, which is another really fantastic figure from Pharaoh's Quest, again Bricklinked. Classic Ghost, which I found at a market. The Orc Gang from the Tower of Sauron. From Barad-dûr, with Sauron, who looks amazing, Gothmog, and then one of each Orc. Would love a Witch King. Just going to put that out there again. Full collection, well, no, not a full collection, actually. Half of the rock monsters that I need to find. I've got red, green, blue, and trans neon yellow. I'm still missing a couple of colours there, and then one of the flame ones as well, followed by Flamma from Nexonites. I have a lot of the Nexonite villains. That was actually what was up here on this shelf before Star Wars, but those designs are just fresh. I love modern Star Wars. There's just some great designs in there. I love how clean the Airborne Troopers look as well. But then King Kahuka, this one is my spare. I have one from Enchanted Island. I had this one before that because I didn't know I'd ever get that set, especially for such a good deal. That's a great video, actually. And I'm selling him because I have 2 and I don't need 2. But then we've got the 1970s police and medical lady with the original sticker torsos, although I've reapplied the stickers. They are OG stickers, but I reapplied them from the sheet just to make them clean, and I could clean these figures up and they look fantastic. A parrot from a basic set from the early 2000s, and then my purest junk bot. And then on the bottom shelf we have an Animal Crossing lineup here. Not all of them, obviously, just the ones I have from the sets I own. This is full now, so no more Animal Crossing for Octane for the time being, he says, with Goldie's house and Blather's Museum waiting for 50% off sales. That'll be next year though. But we've got Mabel, Julian, Maple, Celeste, and Isabel, Tom Nook, Wilbur, Rosie, Tangy, Bunny, and Sasha. Rounding out the shelves. Let's go take a look at those bulk figures. I kept you waiting for far too long. But I really love my frames. Let me know what your favorite minifigure is. In general, doesn't have to be from these, down below. So I've got a couple of different boxes here, some different sizes, and I think we are indeed going to be curiously taking a look around. But I wanted to show you how I deal with figures when I don't own the sets, because most of the time I keep figures with sets. I mean, there's a great example of that just here with Star Wars box number 2, where you can see that is the Sith Trooper battle pack and the Sith Troopers are inside it. However, I got this bag out. So these are my Star Wars extra figures, at least all ones that aren't related to a specific project. So these are figures that I've acquired that don't have a set. So you can see New Gunray there, some Praetorian Guards, which I didn't buy with a set, just bought those off Bricklink, an Imperial Hover Tank Pilot from 2018, and of course, a Gonk droid as well. There's 2012 Obi-Wan as well. Just figures either that I've come across randomly or that inherited from people that don't have a set. So for a thing like Star Wars, which has storage boxes, they tend to go with the theme and then sit in there loose, because if I want to find Star Wars figures, of course I'm going to find them there. However, this is not the case for themes like City, which is what this box is for here. Oh. This is my random figure box. You can already see a Zalax racer has jumped out, but let's tip this out. Right, and you'll see that this immediately breaks almost all of those rules. So we've got generic figures here, which is the Builder minifigure tower, Spider Queen. We've got Nexonite figures in here like Jestro. I do have a spot for Nexonite sets, but I just didn't put the figures with it because it's much more easier for me to acquire Jestro from here. However, as this space fills up, this box is nearly full. Themed figures like Jestro for one, but also guys like this Atlantis Shark. So I do own an Atlantis set, just one singular one. These figures will start to be distributed out to those themes, which is basically what's happened with themes like Ninjago already, although I don't know many figures from that. But this also allows me to store duplicate CMF figures. So we've got the Dragonborn Paladin, which I did deliberately buy 2 of. And then how, I don't know, but I ended up with 2 of the Mountain Climbers. So my spare Mountain Climber lives in here, although he should probably just really be parted out. We've got figures like King Kahuga in here. I actually do now own Enchanted Island, so this figure is kind of a duplicate, so I might look into selling this one because I just really don't need 2 of a named character like King Kahuga. But at the moment he sits in here, along with my original Gingerbread Man. The one in the frame is a second copy that I picked up for a reasonable price later on. And the reason why is because this guy was played with so much. You can see his leg has no structural integrity. He can barely stand up. He rocks forward at the slightest motion. So I have my original copy of him in here. Moltor. Figures that used to be on display in the frames, like the Brick Friday 2019 promo. So sad they didn't continue this. Here's that 2024 Johnny Thunder, so some City figures as well. Promo figures like the Chicken, this Ostrich, which I don't have a sets for, and then figures from themes that I pick up, like the Video Kraken. I'm actually not going to show you my other 2 video figures, but I have 1 video character from each of this blind box series that I brought off Lego.com. And those I used to store in the minifigure frames, but because I like displaying them with their tiles, those figures actually have ended up in the box full of MISC sets. So they sit with, well, I don't own any video sets, but with other original IP like Hidden Side and Ideas. So they just sit in their own bag because they have parts attached to them. I didn't want to keep those in here. We've got this goblin here from Elves, and I put that Zalax racer down earlier, but there are actually quite a few of them in here, although they're all hiding from me. Yeah, here's one of them. So if you guys don't familiar with these, they're these weird little Lego pieces. They're one-piece builds that are named characters on Bricklink. And one thing I always do when placing a Bricklink order is I go through the store and search by minifigure cheapest. And if there are any ridiculously cheap minifigures, I tend to pick them up. This one isn't a Zalax, but very similar. So quite often these things are listed for 9p or whatever. And eventually I will make my way through and gain a full collection of them. But time has not been on my side with that one yet. But I always check. I'm always looking, and we have, and there's my other Power Rhino Rock monster. Another one of interest is this Exoforce one here. Apart from the Ghost one, of course, with the Zalaxes, because that's really, really expensive. Cruncher's Driver from Speed Racer. The wrong Boris Bulldog. I wanted to get my Boris Bulldog that was missing from a Fabuland set I own, so I wanted to get the correct replacement. However, this is not him because he's got the wrong face print on. But they sent it to me and listed it incorrectly on Bricklink and never got back to me, which is disappointing. General Magmar, I have most of the flame monsters, or like named fire monsters. Club Max as well, and then most of these other ones are just generic cities or like 1997 Johnny Thunder. I shouldn't have bought this because I'm going to end up with more adventurous sets, so I really didn't need this figure. Yeah, city workers and various bits that have been pieced together. A couple of Globlins which have come off, Beastmaster here, as well as a Chima figure and so on. But let's push this all to one side. I can clear up this mess later. Effectively, I store them in this box, and then I come to this box if I need them. In this one is my keychains. So here we have a gingerbread keychain, hot dog man keychain, and a Mortimer mouse keychain from the 70s, which is very cool, as well as a name brick. Put those away. And then in my last box, before we get to that purple one under there, we have this here, which is my fire army. So if you guys remember the siege video, I'm storing the fire army just in this box, in this cupboard here, which is just a really easy way to store them. If you want to know more about those, I'll try and remember to link the video. But previously, this stored my Ice Planet figures, who are now stored with the classic Galaxy Explorer and the Renegade remake, because there was space in that box. Also, they were getting a little bit too big, and I thought this would be the perfect size for the fire army. I did also mention, though, that I was going to talk to you guys about promotional stuff. So we have this little box that I found, and here is my collection of minifigure bags. Now, I don't have every bag, which is unfortunate, but you can see here that they are labelled in series order. I haven't got these out in ages, so this is a great excuse. But what else is in here? The Serena card from the Whitecap base set from 2011 Pirates of the Caribbean. We have all the sheets here, like the leaflets from minifigure series, as you can see, starts all the way back with series 1 there. And these are, I believe, sealed ones. So, no, sorry, open ones. So all of these in here have been opened and can be folded out. However, in an era between Lego Movie Series 2 and the Marvel series, they actually came taped shut. So these are all taped versions, because for some reason my brain got it in me that I had to keep one that was taped and pristine, and then one version that can be opened. Don't ask, I don't know why. I'm not usually like this with packaging, but just for CMFs, I'm a bit weird. So here are the more modern open ones. So there's Series 27, the Formula 1 series, Dungeons & Dragons. So all of these ones are the sort of untaped versions, unless they've fallen out of that bag, my mistake, I imagine. What is this? This is the newer minifigure bags, because what happened about... again, around the Lego Movie 2 series sizes, the bags changed size and got slightly bigger, so I had to change the Ziploc that I keep them in. So this should be every series from 22 up to Disney 100, which was the last bagged series before we changed over to boxes. There's the Blackbeard card, again, so most of my like paper, small materials stay in here. We've got example of the foil packs. This is the War Machine one. Marvel's another series where the figures, like Star Wars, are kept with their sets. There's the Space series, one of the Mario series. Of course, I have every Mario character pack. Don't display those in the frames. Hopefully I'm putting an image up on screen. The Lester poly bag, because it was special. The Club Max poly bag. And then an example of a paper poly bag as well, here with the botanical field flowers, which I was able to pick up at a convention. And that all just kind of sits in here and does the job. But what about boxed series? Well, previously I was sort of buying a box from each series. Obviously I was buying a piece from the series anyway, so it wasn't like a bad thing, but I was just keeping a box with my other cardboard boxes. I don't keep most Lego boxes, but I do keep a select few special ones like Disney Castle and Assembly Square, anything that has sort of sentimental meaning. But I don't also keep minifigure packets, so I was just chucking the boxes in there. But then around the time of the Space minifigure series, I was able to pick up one of those tower dispensers. And the reason I was able to pick this up is because I was buying way too many Ice Planet figures, and I just so happened to use up the tower. So I just transported the tower out there, took it home, was really excited because I like that Space series and I like all the promo from it. So I have that Space tower now, and what I've been doing is putting each of the boxes from the series is inside it. So in theory, when I have 12 series again, that tower will be able to dispense me 12 minifigure series boxes that are empty from 12 different series. So that started with Marvel Series 2, although I don't know, that might be a series I don't have a box for. So that was one series in 2023, then 3 boxes from the series in 2024, which was Space, D&D, and Series 27. And then I have, or 26, no, 25 even. And then the 2 from this year being the Racing Series and the Series 27 from the beginning of this year. So currently there are 6 boxes in there. They've got 6 more to go. So I've got another couple of years of filling it up, and I'll put the Spider-Verse one in there in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I thought it was cool. Actually, by the time you're watching this, Spider-Verse series will have already come out, but oh well, you can't see that. But yeah, I hope you found this maybe interesting. I don't really know. I just like my minifigures and I wanted to share them. This is how I keep most of my sets, by the way. I mean, there's like way more than this, but I have it's a large collection, and I'd be interested in showing more of it. So if you're interested in seeing more behind the scenes stuff about what Octane does outside of building digital stuff, because he has quite a lot of parts and has a lot of fun with it, do let me know. But thank you for being here, thank you for 5 years, and thank you for watching this ramble. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and let me know your favorite minifigure down in the comments below. Bye bye.